from Pins and Needles in Cleveland. Hi everyone, welcome to So Social. I'm Jan and this is Etta.
Hi Jan.
From Pins and Needles in Cleveland, Ohio, or sewedonline.com. We have some interesting stuff for you today. There's a brand new product in batting that I'm super excited about because it takes a lot of the work off. There's so many people that have quilts.
Yes.
And they don't finish them. So I'm going to give you some clues today on how to finish them quick and easy. So stay with us. It won't be too long. Let's first talk about the new
product?
Yes. And that is called Birdie Bird. So it's a new batting. So explain it, Etta.
Well, so it's flannel is our backing. So it's got a batting on it. And it is actually stitched down. So, you know, when you were going through and basting things, it's already stitched together. So it's going to eliminate that wrinkle effect most of the time.
But most important, it's also going to, like quilt as you go, is going to be a lot easier.
Oh, absolutely.
And simple. So you're not having to lay your backing down.
And then your batting.
And then your top and pinning it and all that stuff.
Right.
It's pretty cool. It's brand new on the market. It's is this a cream or a white?
Well, it's white on the back right now.
Yeah.
And you have like a cream batting in it.
Of course, not to let the colors come through.
Right.
So it's very soft too.
Oh, yeah.
I like that because we were making baby blankets with it to try. So the coolness is it comes in a big bolt. You can buy it by the yard, okay, or you can buy it by the roll. So you can buy it for $29.99 a yard, or for $25 if you buy 5 yards. So now let me tell you what the scoop is, though. So it comes 96 inches wide. So
that's a queen. I mean, you're getting up there close to a king too.
Okay. So for that wide, you're buying your backing and your batting. That's cheap.
Yes.
Because a 108-inch wide flannel is like 17. If you get the high quality stuff, it's $18, $19 a yard.
Yes.
Then you add the batting.
And that's another $18, $19 a yard if you're getting good batting.
So this is a bargain and it's sewn. Let us show you a little bit more. I think you're going to be pretty intrigued. I know I am. Like I said, there's too many of you that have quilts at home that you've never finished. And we need to finish them up and get them to the
people that need them. I mean, you know, whether they're gifts or what.
Keepsakes, because your grandkids aren't going to finish them.
And this being already sewed down onto the batting, you're eliminating a lot of things. So it really helps a lot. I only have to worry about smoothing the front.
Okay, so let's talk. First of all, we're just going to take a panel. Now this just came in, so we just said, oh, well, let's play with it.
Yeah.
All right. So, and how many of you got panels at home? But you know, around here, everybody can't do anything easy. They have to do things very creative.
Absolutely.
That's because of Etta and Sue. You know, they have to be. So you hold this up.
Okay.
All right. So because they had to make it extra special, they cut, what did you cut it here?
They cut it here. They
and
cut
here.
the middle out and the bottom off. So this is kind of like your sashing edges almost.
So they could put a row in it. They were making it bigger, easier. So it was a little bit bigger than just the panel.
Absolutely. And
had a little bit more character to it. Me, I'm too lazy. I would have done the panel and been finished with it. But not these guys. They always have to make it one step nicer.
Well, and that's a border print, Jan. So it's a coordinate that goes with it. Yeah. And so what a great way of...
And it
adds to it.
I mean, they're always right. Don't get me wrong. They're right. But again, it's an extra work. So now what we want to do is, Etta, we explained that we just went and sewed the center panel and did a straight stitch all the way around it. You wouldn't have had to do a straight stitch, you could have just pinned it,
You could have.
but the straight stitch all the way around it, okay? So
You could have
now,
spray basted it a little bit if you wanted to. I'm lazy.
she's the quilting expert. She is the best. So spray baste that down.
Yeah, spray baste it down.
All right. So then you took a strip of your material,
That's right.
okay?
Now make
and-
sure this is a directional, so you want to get the directions going in the right way.
Okay, so let's explain that. So we want to make it longer. We didn't feel the panel was long enough. I have a brand new granddaughter, so I know everything about oh, you know what? I'm getting a brand new grandson. Look at this, it's blue.
I guess this is leaving our shop pretty fast, isn't it?
Sell that fabric out and it's mine. Okay, so let me just show you. So you explain, let's see how we want to do this. Let's bring it over here on the table. So the gals can really understand. We're going to teach you flip and go. This is the easiest thing. 90% of my quilts are done this way. We will be doing a t-shirt quilt here real soon for all of you. And it's done very similar to this. But I'll tell you what, I can get my t-shirt quilt done almost 100% in a couple hours. Yes. So it might be worth doing. Okay, so
we know that this has to go here.
yeah, explain the directions.
So we want to make sure that we're going in the correct direction here. And then I'm going to flip this up and match the edges. That's all I'm going to do is flip up, match the edges. You want to put a couple pins in it just to hold it. That's perfectly fine. Oh, and we got those brand new pins, don't we? So these are our new magic pins. And they are wonderful. They're heat resistant here, easier grips. So if you're using them, and they come in different lengths.
And different sizes, but they come in a fork or this way. The girls really like this one being regular because it's not so much to bump over, but also because of the heat resistance. So that's a really big thing.
Yeah, if you go to pull these
like.
out, you know, if you're using those glass pins and you get them, they get hot. You can burn your fingers.
Well, you can hurt your machine too.
Yes.
Now these magic pins are $11.99. Just letting you know. There's probably 50 of them in here. Let's see. Yep, 50. They're 1 3/4 inches. But some of you that are using old pins, can I convince you to buy a set of decent pins? Rather, would you buy these ones or not? These are the newest and the hottest because they're thinner. Okay, so they're thinner.
Sharper.
Okay, that's the deal. They're sharper and they're thinner. So what the advantage of it is, we all have the flower pins and those, but those are thicker. So these, you know, they're always trying to improve stuff.
And you know what I like about these is those tops aren't coming off quite as easy. So there's a good thing to hold on to there when you're using them. And you got a nice little container to put them in so you can keep all your good pins together.
Treat yourself, put it on your Christmas list, do whatever you have to do. Okay, so now let's sew it. I want them to actually see what we're doing.
Okay, so let's get this sewed.
Now you can put it in your machine whichever way
you want.
is the smallest, is the farthest in here.
Yeah.
Do you have a bigger opening on a machine? That's something, but if you have just a small opening, you can do a quilt as you go on your machine if you have the small opening, because there's not, look at, I could have put that all there.
Yeah.
Where if you try to do a free motion on a whole quilt, you're trying to move the whole thing around.
All right.
So she's just going to sew that strip down so we can see it. Let's make it a little stitch length a little longer. Just I want you to so we can get done and everybody's going to stay with me. So then we'll go and put a border on for you so you make sure you understand how to do that also. It's really, really, really cool. Yeah.
Oh, my thread just broke.
Well, it's probably because I didn't thread it right when I came in. Okay,
Imagine that.
so while she's threading, let's talk about a little bit about this batting. If you were doing a purse, or it's already going to be lined. So think of a tote bag. It's already going to be lined for you. All you got to do is sew up your seams. So that's nice. But the girls got really excited about bibs because you can buy patterns or panels like this so that it's already, the bib is all cut out. So all you're doing is putting it around it, flipping it, sewing it and flipping it, and you're finished. So your batting is included and your lining is included. So those are kind of a fun things that we got to think outside our box a little bit right now, because this is new stuff. And it's, I think it's got a real value to us to be able to do with it and have fun with it and do fun things with it. So as she's sewing, I'm going to give you another idea of what else you could do with this batting and with Quilt As You Go. So if you want to use your own batting and everything and your own backing, and you want to spray, starch it down or whatever, spray, what's it called? Quilt basting spray? Okay, you can do that already. You don't have to do it my way. I'm just doing it faster because it's all done for me. I like the cheapness of it myself. I'm glad that they put flannel on the back because I think that makes it cozy. And I'm really glad that they put a soft batting. So for a baby, you know, it makes a difference to be able to do it. So all she's doing is sewing across it. We're cheating today just because we've got a lot going on. But you would have put a walking foot on your machine doing this feature so that nothing's going to shift on you. Etta's so good, nothing's going to shift on her anyways. But if you have a walking foot on your machine, drag the thing out and put it on.
It makes life easier.
Yeah, and it makes it more perfected. So what's going on with a walking foot is your material is moving through like this, okay? Rather than what Etta's doing is this is coming through and this is shifting on here. You probably have a walking foot in your attachments. Get the thing out. If you don't know how to use it and you live close to Cleveland, you call in here and we will show you how to use that thing and make sure it's going. If you are from far away and you're really stuck, call me and we'll FaceTime and I'll show you. So, what are you doing
Sewed
now?
across, and now all I have to do is flip.
Yeah, if you flip it the wrong way, you're in trouble.
Well, let's hope we did it the right way.
Okay, so what we're talking about is we want the bunnies to face it up. So the trick is to put it up. Make sure it's right before you sew it.
You're right.
Can you tell that I've done it wrong once in a while? For sure.
A few times.
So that's all you're doing. So now on this side, let's look at this thing now.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have this piece, and this piece. And remember, we're working from the center out.
Oh.
Always from the center out.
So
Don't-
you're going to add this piece on here. Mm-hmm. Now, we just,
So once you get all those done,
so you understand, we're going to lay this way, make sure it's perfect. But do you see how she's got it kind of centered pinned to make sure that the animals are going the proper way? I'm sure you would never make a mistake, but we would.
yeah, we would. We get in such a hurry to do things. And that's unfortunate because we do the same thing at home. So
But you know what happens to all of us, so quit kicking ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, so now they're taking the border print
yes.
and they're making a longer piece to go from here all the way down. Now notice that we did the border last, because if we would put the border on right here, then we'd have to make a longer piece here. And we're cheap. Let's make sure, so think about it. We're doing the border down here last because we're cheap. Now think about it. This is the panel, right? So I don't have anything to put out here to build it as I go.
No, you don't.
It would be more work for me. So by just spreading it like this, now just lay that down. I think they get the idea of how to do it.
If we lay that down now, you get this. Now the thing is, when you put this on, you make sure both of them are, going the direction you want, because sometimes we get carried away and all of a sudden we've got them both going either in the same direction or something's wrong. So if I put it on that way, I wouldn't like it. I would want it the other way. So,
Okay,
I can kind of see that things are kind of looking in the same directions. For things are,
Kind of a matter of opinion, though.
well, yes, it is. And
But
so,
I'd say she's the expert, not me. But do you see how the animals are facing out on this one and the animals are facing in on hers? It don't make any difference which way you go. But of course, you want them the same.
I want them to be Or I look at it and I feel comfortable with it. So, you know, if you feel comfortable with it that way, that's fine. I would probably flip it the other direction now. For both of my animals are facing inward.
You know why? You're absolutely right. Because your eye goes to here.
Yes.
And then it spreads out.
That's right.
Good point. Might be worth you listening today for that silly little point there. But do you see how easy this is to be able to be done?
You know, within 15 minutes, you could probably have this together.
Yeah.
I mean, really and truly, you know, put together with no problem whatsoever.
Okay, now we're not going to go in this today because the quilt isn't finished, but I want you to explain to them. Let's say your quilt was here.
Okay.
So I would cut it about 2 inches maybe?
Yeah, you want about 2 inches because I think you're going to do
A mitered?
mitered border.
So just kind of
So
show.
kind of, when you do a mitered border, this is kind of folding in.
Now let's make sure they're able to grab this on. Are we okay, Val, on camera? Okay, thanks, folks.
Okay, so we're folding this in. And you may have to play with this a little bit because I never get these dimensions quite right. But normally then you're going to be folding in again and probably like this. And then these things should miter here in the corner. So you'll have to do a little playing to get it mitered in correctly. And then you can kind of trim this off a little bit. Does that make sense?
You're self-binding.
Yeah.
With this flannel. Mm-hmm. It's awesome.
So you kind of look at it and it actually ends up, basically, you're going to miter right there in the corner, tuck these down in.
Do not worry that it's a one layer thicker. Just don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
If it's going to be really nice and it's going to be very comfy, but can you see, we'll make this a little bit more projected so they can see it on screen.
Okay. So you have to fold this corner.
Now this can be miter on anything.
Yeah.
We're doing placemats right now. We're looking at gift ideas. So we're doing placemats exactly like this, which we'll be showing you again. But on quilting, just make your backing and your batting a little bit bigger. You really don't have to turn it under that much.
No, you don't. I mean, it's just kind of figuring out how much, you know, and then this kind of just folds over.
Isn't that cool?
And like I said, you got to kind of play with it a little bit.
Make sure your fingers are out of there. I got to make sure everybody gets to see this.
Okay, sorry.
It's hard.
Used to using my fingers for everything. Give me a couple of those nice little pins.
Okay, there you go.
So we'll just kind of pin this here a minute before they can kind of see
You
it.
see how it's mitered in and over and over. So that's a real easy thing to do. If you tried it once, you might be really, really, really shocked how simple that is. Yeah. And then if you wanted to do this as a raw edge, those aren't going to go no place. Take one of your serpentine stitches on your sewing machine that goes around like this and stitches and sew it right on down.
And you know, the girls really love to do that because you don't have to worry about everything being so perfectly straight. Where if you're using a straight stitch, you have to kind of worry about that straight stitch veering a little bit. So they really do like that decorative stitch.
Cool.
And you can use several different stitches, so, you know, kind of experiment.
So to start, they started the panel looking like this. Throw that out, maybe this.
We'll lay that one over there.
No, I want to compare them.
Oh, okay. All right.
So you can see just adding that little bit to it. Can you see the difference of, okay, there's the panel, and then we made it longer and wider very, very, very easily, but mostly important, inexpensively. So, you know, it makes it a little bit more special without a whole lot of work.
And I'm going to tell you, my panels, I love to work with panels. So, you know, how many times have I come in and I grab a panel and say, oh, let's do something with this. Let's do something with this.
She's crazy. You need to stay with her. You should see this, what is that, a ghost thing you made today? You should have brought it in and showed everybody. This is another panel that's out now, and these are very, very, very popular. So remember, I have a grandbaby. So the baby lays here, and then you just put a stuffed, here, hold that up.
You can do a stuffed animal or some kind of ring.
Something to say that she's 1 month old or 2 months old or whatever. These are terrific shower gifts.
Yes, they are. They're the new photo panels, and they come in a variety of different things. So we just love them.
And they come out all the time in different colors. It came out in the last year, maybe these type of things did. But I see them on the internet and they're like $80. But of course, young moms and grandmas buy them. You can make this for the price of a panel, which is probably $8.
You know, and again, this is where that batting, just throw it on and backing. You can do some straight line quilting on it and you're done. Or if you want to do some free motion stippling on it, oh, how much fun can you have with that?
So, all right, let me tell you a few more things. Let's put that down here and let's try this one. So,
oh, she's coming out with a cuddle.
you know, you open that up. Okay, so we carry the Shannon Cuddle. We think it's the best snuggle material on the market. The reason for it is after 6 washings. That's when you can tell the difference of what you pay for. So there's different brands of snuggle, but I think they've mastered it. I get people that come on in from the big box store and then they buy ours and they keep telling me it washes so much better. So you know you don't know that before you buy it. So what are you doing, Etta?
Again, this is just that flip and sew, and those you can buy. Those are pre-cuts for, so they're like 10-inch strips clear across, so they're 60 wide and 10 inches. Or you can buy it by the yard, you know, however you want.
Okay, but you also, there's a lot of times if you've done snuggle before and done snuggle quilts with me, you have leftovers.
Oh yeah.
So this is just probably a 12-inch strip by 60. It's $6, but it's all done. So all you're doing now is what?
Well, we're doing that flip and sew once again. You know, we started at the top on this. You can start in the middle. You can start in the top. Sometimes it's best to start in the middle, just simply because you're smoothing as you go, getting things smoothed out. And sometimes you can even use a little spray based on this once you flip it, you know. So again, just like we did with the baby quilt, we're going to sew a strip to a strip. So our first strips we sewed down.
You sewed this down all the way around. And now you're sewing this strip down
on it. Okay, so you know you're just pinning this together, and you know, then you're going to run a strip right down here, just like that. And then once it's sewed on,
let's just do it.
Okay.
So we're going to sew it down. It's going to flip. We're going to put the next one down, flip, the next one down, flip, the next one down, flip, and you are finished. So you also can work where the heaviest part of the batting, the whole quilt, is on the left side of you. So this one we'll do right down the side, and we'll change as we go up. So that's a pretty cool thing.
And you definitely want to use a walking foot, okay? Because this is a little slipperier.
Okay.
So we really like to use a walking foot. And the other thing I like to do is pin. I pin a lot on snuggle.
Okay.
Because it does like to slip around. So a lot of times when I'm pinning, I'm going to come out here and do a little pinning just to hold things in place where it doesn't shift around on me so much.
I want you to sew it in front of them just to make them realize how simple it is. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about a couple things and then we'll come back to that. Okay, so she's going to sew that over. So now what I want to talk about is a couple events that are coming up. They're virtual as well as in the store. So when you're off in Nebraska, you can join us. So let me tell you about a couple of them. First of all, we're lucky enough to have Lauren Jackson, who's a quilting star, coming to our store. And she's here September 23rd for 3 days. If you're local, I want you to consider coming on in. She's doing one lecture demo on how to quilt your quilt. So Etta can do this too, but how to quilt it, how to make it, the teddy bear stand out, what colors to use. But if you want to get into free motion, we do have a complete series of free motion classes on Sew It Online. So if you're a member, please take them because there's a lot on there for you. By the way, if you're a member of Sew It Online, like your walking foot and all these things, they go right into the vault. There's over 150 classes on there now that teach you things. But we're mostly about making you use your machine that you have and all the cool functions. But free motion is really, really, really cool. And I get so many people that are afraid of it. or they say, I tried that once. It's not a one-time deal. You've got to try it where you get comfortable. You come around me, I will make you master free motion. I don't let anybody out the store that wants to learn it not learn it, because it's that easy to be able to do, and you can handle it on your machine. On your machine, please remember. So these sort of things Etta just made up to give people ideas of how simple that it is. Now, I'm not very good creatively. I'm not an artist like she is. So coming up with putting pebbles around a big feather, now that'd be beyond me. But I am the best copier in the world. I can find anything, any place, and I can copy it. I just can't come up with the idea myself. I mean, how do you look at this and put this on here? You know, how would you think about putting a heart on it? That just comes naturally to some. But like I said, I know where to look and I know how to copy. All right, so free motion is something. Now let's take this guy. This is a new notion also. It's called a roll and press. Now look what she's doing. That is just as much effort, or not effort, but as much warmth as putting an iron on it. And all you're doing is pressing that down. But you can do it right there where you're sewing. You don't have to take it to the ironing board and do it. So where some of you would say, I wouldn't bother pressing it, I'll tell you, I can tell when people bring stuff in. We can tell people who press every seam and who don't. But this thing has really been a nice tool.
Yes. And if you've starched your fabric or used best press on it before, this is going to even roll even nicer because it's just going to bend it over and it's going to stay there a little bit more. So, you know, a lot of us starch our fabric when we're doing quilting. It's a little stiffer, it flows through nicer, and then when we roll this, it just stays there.
I like it so that if you did a couple inch thing, it's right here and done.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going up, getting up, you know, all that kind of stuff to be able to do it. So you got 2 rows done now.
I do. So if we were going to add another one,
I don't think
we would just fold it on, you know, add it on top and then sew it down again. And, you know, you can just go down the quilt that way. And, you know, you can make these strips as wide or as narrow as you want. So you can really decorate it up.
But do you see how, again, it's all done? Your backing is all done. You can either trim it and bind it, or you can use our mitered method, but it's a soft, cuddly quilt. So let me tell you, if you haven't made a quilt with snuggle on the back, after you make one, you will never make another. Now in the store we teach that you don't even have to use batting. But with this new batting, some people want
They
batting.
want batting sometimes.
They want
Absolutely.
the warmth of it. So
And you
just,
don't want a heavy batting then, because it is so
That's
warm.
lightweight.
Yeah, this is a
I
nice
like
weight.
a quilt that's, I can
Cuddle in. Okay,
So-
now when you bind this though, Jan, also, if you decide you're going to cut strips and bind this, you don't have to fold it in half and fold it over. This does not ravel out. And you just fold it over and sew it down.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah,
That thing's
so-
really, really, really good. Okay, so there's a couple classes I have to let you know. So like I said, if you are from far away, just take it as ideas, because when something comes off this awesome, we have to show you. So Etta just made this, and we're teaching a class on it. So if you're here in Cleveland, it's a rehooping class. You hoop this, and you come back and hoop this, and you hoop this, and you hoop this. So we're determined to make you use your embroidery machine to the fullest. But this is by Claudia's creation, but isn't it classy? So it is the witch, and then you're coming back, and then you're coming down here, then you're adding this. But didn't Etta pull the colors together? Absolutely gorgeous. I just had to show you. So there are classes on rehooping on sewItonline.com if you're a member. So just go check into Edge to Edge and all the fun stuff we do. But that is something locally that we're doing it where you're going to have it done way before Halloween, because we're going to give 20 hours of different times you can come in and continue. So there'll be no excuse. So I gotcha.
And
so
once you start it, you don't want to stop. You want to get it done because it's just so intriguing to Oh, what's next to add to it?
And that was something, she's a quilting star. So for her to do something on embroidery, she has just mastered embroidery. By doing that, there's nothing she can't do. So now you're the star.
Oh no.
One of
But
them.
I'd
One of
like
them.
to do it. You know, one of them.
You can take the compliment. I got to show you this because I'm lucky enough that one of my customers, Marion Hearns, makes these. And I just want the opportunity to show you. So this is a design pack by OESD. But Etta, show them the square.
So the square is actually just here. You know, you just got
A
one
5x7 hoop makes this. So what you do is you go 1, 2, 3, 4 times.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, so you got 32 squares to make. So you're going to make 4 or 5 a day. So you're going to have it done. Just do it over a month, okay? And then what you do is you make a square of embroidery, and then you're going to cut 1/2 inch away, and you're going to sew it together. So show them the back of the CD.
So the back of the CD kind of shows you as it's cut away. And these are the pieces that you're going to put together. So it's kind of like the jigsaw, you know, only there's no like puzzle pieces, you know, it's just a square to a square to a square. And it's so simple and easy to do.
Now you can make these as a wall hanging just with batting or however you want to be able to do it. But she framed it, and that's what I want you to see. This is a masterpiece beyond masterpiece. And she gave them, she's got a couple of them now, and she makes them for her husband. And then he warned me what could happen if something happened to this thing. Well, I got to show it to you. But they loaned it to me to be able to show you, and I just wanted to encourage you to do something like that. I know it looks outrageously a lot of work, but start to finish, you get it done. So it's just something I had to show you. OESD is coming into our store next week.
Yes.
Oh boy, coming up quick.
Time is flying.
If you're, I have my Etta here with me, who is the expert on quilting, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So we do this in the store, but we also want to do So Social here on for you that need to watch it from home. So if you're in the Cleveland area, it happens 5 times a month between all of our stores. And online, we also have it there also. So you can go to sewedonline.com and you can watch it. Or I think we send out emails to all of our Pins and Needles customers. The idea of So Social, I've been doing it for 30 years. Some of you have been around for 30 years, I know. And so what the idea of it is people have elaborate sewing machines, or they have even a basic sewing machine, and they don't do as much as what the machine's capable of doing.
Well, let's see, there's straight stitch and there's zigzag. There is no other stitch. No?
Look who's talking. Now, the point is that you think it's a bunch of gibberish on your machine, and it isn't. So that's what we're going to go over. And so what our goal on these meetings is to entice you to do something a little bit outside your box. So let's get started. What happened is our girls got in Cleveland here, our Cleveland Indian baseball team changed the name to the Guardians. So we want to show them one of the appliques. So we want everybody to be able to make that with the new Guardians logo on anything that they choose to do. So now we chose this, but you just did an applique quilt.
Yes.
You use it quite often in lots of things. One of the girls just did a denim jacket and put the flowers all the way on the back of the denim jacket, and she did applique. So applique was something we really did before embroidery.
Yeah, it's been around a long time. I mean, you know what? Before embroidery came in, that's what everybody did. They applique things. So it's been around a long, long time.
But let's say you don't have an embroidery machine, or it's fun to applique. I was just doing some curtains and pillows to match. So I took the flower off of the curtain, which is on my valance, and cut around it, which we're going to show you how, and then ironed it onto my pillow, and I'll applique around it. You can't do that on an embroidery machine.
No. Oh, now, wait a minute. Come on.
Okay. All right, so let's talk quickly I won't take up a lot of your time, but I want to talk about how I'm going to get my design. How do you prepare your fabric first? That's the first thing.
So the first thing I want to do is stiffen this fabric up. So we're going to use
This is a regular cotton.
cotton fabric, and we're going to use a best press on it, some kind of starch. So we used best press, and we starched it good.
Okay.
You want it stiff.
You can also use a piece of iron-on interfacing if you're using a flimsy fabric. So the first thing we're doing is stabilizing the fabric. Got it? Stabilizing the fabric. You can do it with best press. So for you that don't know what best press is, it's like a starch.
A spray starch that they've come out with.
But it isn't like spray starch like for your ironing, because it won't gum up your needle and into your hook system.
And it doesn't flake like the old starches
Oh,
and stuff like that.
People buy that stuff by the gallons. They just love it.
Yes,
Okay.
they do.
All right. So now we are stabilizing our red fabric.
Yep.
So now you're going to,
And then we have a product called Soft Fuse.
okay. So let's talk about Soft Fuse. Soft Fuse is like the Mercedes-Benz of iron-on fusibles.
Fusibles.
So we used to have Wonder Under, Steam a Seam,
Heat and
Heat and Bond.
Bond.
Okay. So why do we like this one the best?
because it's not stiff.
Oh.
Okay, it's going to stay soft when you put it on. You know, who wants to walk around with something that's real stiff and you feel like a
I used to, my kids always had Barney on their shirts that I cut out of, everything, and it was stiff, I remember.
Yes.
So this is going to be pliable.
Yes.
Okay, so what's that stuff called?
Soft fuse.
Soft fuse.
Yeah, soft fuse.
Wonderful stuff. It's the only stuff we carry in the store anymore, basically, because of how much softer it is, whether it goes on your quilt, too. Do you use it on your quilts?
Yes, I do. You know, so when I'm doing applique on my quilts, I do. And, you know, back in the old days when we did applique, they needle turn. You turned under like about a 1/4 inch.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, it was all handwork. Not my friend at all.
That had to be before me. I just don't do any handwork, ever. Never have. That from knitting, that's about it. Okay. So then to soft fuse, what's the next step?
Well, then you can trace on your design. So if you...
Oh, forgot about that part.
Yep. Now, you can trace your soft fuse first and then cut it out if you're going to do cutting by hand. But we kind of cheated. We didn't cut by hand.
Okay, so let's slow down a minute. Soft fuse has got a bumpy side because that's the iron side, and it's got a soft side that's paper that's going to get pulled off eventually.
Yes.
So that's soft fuse. You can use Wonder Under. You can use Steam a Seam. I'd say probably Steam a Seam. You know what, Heat and Bond Light, if you're out and you don't have a store by you to get the new soft fuse, Heat and Bond Light will do the job, wouldn't you say?
Right, it will. And you can see through soft fuse, you know, so when you want to trace something out, you can see through it to trace it if you aren't using a cutter for it.
Anybody that's listening, write down that I need to put soft fuse on the website so you guys can get it, because I don't think it's available on most stores, but I will. Okay, so now how do you get, you're going to draw the design, my guardians, so you just would print off, go to your computer and say line art guardians, line art your school's logo, your grandson's school's logo, line art whatever anybody's into.
And if it's lettering, remember we got to mirror that.
Okay. So now, line art, whatever. So if you wanted a school logo again, that's how you're going to get it. It's going to come up on your computer and you're going to have 20 different choices. You're going to pick the one you want and print it out. Now all of a sudden you've got a piece of paper that has this on here. So now what I can do is I'm going to iron that onto a sheet of paper, onto a piece of fabric, and then...
Make sure you put it on the back side.
Oh, okay. Wrong side of the fabric, right? Yes. That becomes a glue. So you can, okay. So now once it gets cut out, you're going to peel it like a contact paper,
Yeah.
and that became glue on this one side. Following us?
Yeah, it's not sticky at this moment either. though.
No, not until you iron it again. So that's how so we went and cut this around with our scissors. Following us? So it has the red fabric behind it, and we were able to cut it out with scissors here. Get it? Now I have to lay that onto my garment. Show your garments. Oh, where's my onesie? Oh, I got a new grandson, and we already put it on his onesie and on Daddy's shirt. So I even put it, did you see where I put it this way on his little pants?
No,
Made
I
it a
didn't
little
see
smaller.
that.
I
Oh
should
my
have brought him
goodness.
back. So damn cute.
I didn't see that one.
Okay, so let's go over. We put the soft fuse. We first of all stabilized your fabric.
Right.
So I can either do best press or I can put a piece of iron-on interfacing. One-sided iron-on interfacing. That's my favorite. I hate puckers when it gets done. So then your next step is to iron that on to a piece.
Well, if you're going to trace your design on, you should trace it onto your soft fuse at that point, for you know what you're cutting out.
She's tracing it onto here. Following me? She's tracing it onto here because then you can see through it, and take it to a window if you don't have a light. But take it right to a window with your piece that you printed out, and you can and draw it out.
That way you know what you're cutting out.
You know, with the computers nowadays, you just know. I remember having to buy things with prints on them and then cut the prints
Prints
out
out.
to applique them on.
Absolutely.
I'll never forget, I did a social, which had to be 30 years ago, 32 years ago, and Barney was the hottest thing in Connor's life was Barney. So I went and bought a set of sheets.
I did the same thing.
Came into social, and we all split. I gave everybody a Barney
got a
that
Barney.
wanted it, so that they could go home and do it. Because you didn't have anything else.
No.
Even back then, you didn't find, or I couldn't afford Barney clothes. I don't know.
And you know, back then, those embroidery machines that were actually doing it, and you were going to the store, it was big bucks to get a sweatshirt with something like that.
Oh
on.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah. Okay, so back to it. Now we're going to print, and now I'm going to iron this on. And once this gets ironed onto my fabric, I'm going to cut around the black lines. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Now, let's talk about a scan and cut, which I'll demonstrate at a different time. And on Sew It Online, there's already videos on there. Can you grab it?
Well, I can.
Okay.
Quit pushing it away.
Oh. All right. There's cutting machines. So I can put my vinyl, which is a fabric,
It's like a fabric.
like a vinyl, like you see in clothing, and you put this through the machine and it will cut it out. Now, the reason why you want a scan and cut over a Cricut or any of the other ones is because if I cut it out like this, I can go to my embroidery machine and use the exact same file, and it will applique around it. So I know Steph's done a class on that on sewitonline.com. We do it in the store quite often. But so then I don't have to go around it with a regular zigzag on my machine. Following me? So a scan and cut's awful helpful.
They're awful helpful.
Ugh.
You know what? Especially, you know, I have friends nowadays that cut in small little pieces like this. They just can't do it anymore.
Oh. I have
So?
people that are cutting they're putting their blue fabric down, and they're cutting their pieces for their quilt on here also.
Yes.
So you know what I'm going to do? I'll only take 1 second. I hate it when you don't keep working. But I put up bunk beds for my granddaughter, and my grandson's only a month old, but the bunk beds are up, okay, little tiny ones. And I'm going to put stars and make the room, because it's a real tiny room, I'm going to make it
how
glow in
cool.
the dark and stars all over it. So you can't buy wallpaper of any value anymore, nor do you want to take off that thing. So I'm going to take my scan and cut. I already figured it out. It's got 2 rows going. I'm going to do stars.
Oh, how cool. Oh.
And then I'm going to put them up on the wall.
Shoot, you got it.
They're going to want to come to Grandma's house, huh? Okay. I'm
They
going to...
want to come to Grandma's
Ha,
regardless.
I'm going to
I
put
know.
twinkle lights on. Okay. So now, let's talk about presser feet. Did I lose the regular one? Do you have the regular one?
No, you didn't give it to me.
Yeah, it had to be on the machine. I probably left it here on the floor. Okay, we're going to talk about presser feet here. Can you just steal one off that machine on the ground?
Yes, I can.
Okay. As soon as I found it, forget it. I told you. Okay. I'm using right now a Janome machine S5. One of my favorite machines as far as a good basic machine. It's far from basic. It's powerful.
Yes.
So speed, powerfulness is the greatest thing ever. So it's all metal construction. So it might not be as bells and whistles, but let me tell you what it'll go through. You know, I was making drapes the other day and I could have done it. Just amazed at how awesome it is. Okay, in your accessory box with your machine, I suspect you got an applique foot that came with it. So let's talk about these presser feet. I believe this came with your machine. You probably don't know what I'm talking about, but I want you to pull it out. This is the most important thing you're going to get out of this seminar today. A regular presser foot is completely flat back here. The reason for that is so that it holds your fabric tight so that you're going to get the most gorgeous straight stitch you're going to get. But came with your machine was an applique foot. A lot of times they're plastic. But if you look at the bottom, it's actually cut out here a good 1/16 of an inch. Now, why do you want that? Because I'm going to add thread to my fabric and I want it to go through exactly smooth and beautiful. Being able to do a gorgeous satin stitch is very easy to do, and you can do it with your current machine. So we got to make sure that you know how gorgeous your machine can do. So follow the steps. I want you to look for this that's cut out. Have you ever sewed before and it kind of bunched up and then you got it going and it bunched up and you got it going?
Oh, I've done that so many times. It's so nice when you get the right feet.
All right, now see how that's completely cut. On my machine, it's an F foot. So I'll put that back there in case I forget it again. And I'm going to snap on my foot.
Now, there's a little red dot on that. Can you tell me what that's for?
Exact center of my foot.
Okay.
Ah. All right. So now, what did I do? Give him the wrong one? Okay. So now, there's also a presser foot called open toe. And what goes on with that, if you can see it, is, see how it's open here? It's probably an extra accessory. We have them for every sewing machine in the world. You can email me and I'll make sure you get the right one and the good one. And what it's going to do is it allows you to see a little bit better as we go around. Does that make sense? So you can see exactly where you're going. You're going to see in a minute how important that is. Okay, so Etta, nothing with needles that they have to do any differently.
No, not really at this
So
point.
the only other thing would be the presser foot stitch.
Stitch.
All right, so let's talk about stitch.
So now what stitch are you going to use?
On my machine, I have special applique stitches. You're going to find them and they go kind of on an angle. But I'm teaching you today to go with the zigzag. So your plain old stitch. We do use the rayon or the embroidery threads because it's finer, it's shinier, and your work looks phenomenal. So using an embroidery thread.
You're professional.
Okay. You know, we don't want to do all this work and not be perfect.
Right.
All right. So as I start sewing, we are stitching along, and your first decision is how wide do you want your stitching. So I want it to show up on screen for you, but I like my stitching to be strong. I don't like a
yes.
little skippy
No.
little thing. That looks too cheap. So at least a 4, My machine goes up to a 6 to a 7 zigzag. I'm going to use a 6 so it works better for on screen so you can see better, but at least a 4. Now check your width on your machine and see how wide your stitches can go. It's one of the most important things as to how you chose that machine, whether you know it or not, is how wide your zigzag can go. It's not just zigzag, it's all your decorative stitches. My machine can go 9 millimeters. And everything you do comes out prettier.
Yes.
So it's just giving you a little bit more width. All right, so I'm on 6 to show you. So if I'm sewing along, I'm going to go down and change my stitch length so it looks very close together. I'm down to a 0.4. We'll see how we like that. I'm going to a 0.3.
Oh, you're getting there.
What do you think? Nope.
Yeah, you still got a few little blank spots.
One more. You probably didn't even know your machine went down to that close of a stitch length. You want it to go through. Do you see what I'm doing by going through? Oh yeah, can you see that baby? How pretty is that? On some of your machines, we might go up here and adjust your tension. My machine does it automatically, even though I have 2 different weights of threads in my machine. But we want to loosen it a little bit. Don't let your bobbin thread come up at all.
No.
Just loosen your number, down a number, and it'll make all the difference in the world.
You wanted to kind of just wrap.
Yeah. So
around.
if you have a white, let's show you. Okay, let me use my scissors.
Now, could you explain why you're using 2 different bobbin widths or bobbin threads or,
Okay.
lower?
Now, do you see how the red is coming through to the bottom? That's what I want, because I don't want any knots to show up on top. So that's an absolutely perfect stitch. Now, what we're doing is we have pre-wound bobbins now that are for embroidery machines, and they're a little bit lighter, so they're letting the top thread pull down.
That's right.
So the knots show at the bottom like an embroidery machine does. So I have a pre-wound bobbin, and you get damn lazy not having to wind a bobbin, but you can buy bobbin thread.
And wind, but now when you buy bobbin thread and wind, Jan, what do you have to do? Because you do have to do something.
What?
You have to slow that winder way
Oh, I couldn't do
down.
that. I'm too fast.
I know you are, but unfortunately you have to slow it way down because you're going to take all the stretch out of that thread.
Okay, she's right. So
So-
just don't go 100 miles an hour.
Buy those pre-wounds. It's much easier.
And people say that they don't want to, they buy the thread because they want to wind their own because they think it's cheaper, but it's not.
It's not.
Because I
No.
went and wound one just to prove it to myself, how many bobbins I could get out of it, and we'll never do that again.
And how many times have you sewed? You run out of bobbin thread and it's like, oh, the last thing I want to do is wind a bobbin, right?
Exactly.
I have pre-wounds and I just pop one in.
You get spoiled, don't we though? But that makes it fun. All right, so what I want to do is, and this is ironed on now, so I'm ready to go to iron this red onto here. What I'm doing is choosing to go around in a circle because I want you to learn to do this professionally. So what I'm going to do is, to remember that little red notch. You aren't going to be able to see it, but there's a little red notch right here. Now, what that red notch is going to do is to go right over the center so that as much stitching goes on the right side as the left side.
Right.
And I'm going to teach you to pivot because a lot of people have no idea how to pivot. I'm going to change my stitch length to be wider just so it shows up for you. You don't have to do it this wide on your machine, but what I'm doing is I'm making this red line right here. And every time that red line can't stay where it's supposed to, right along my curve, I have to pivot. And this is something that most people have no idea how to do. I'm going to go one notch more. Okay. All right, so I'm stitching along. And if I go any further, this is going to come right off here like this, and I'm not keeping it aligned.
Okay.
So I'm going to take my needle up, needle down, move it over to the other side, and the way you're going to turn your fabric, that's where the needle goes down. Do you have a needle up, needle down on your machine? Get used to it. Okay, so now all I'm doing is turning my fabric a tiny degree, and I'm going to go again until I can no longer go, so I have to turn my needle to the right side and pivot. So basically, you're stitching along. When you get to this spot, you're going to go over it a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe 2 stitches.
Yeah, maybe 2. Now, I noticed you're going pretty fast, but you're not going anywhere. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Because of my stitch length?
Yeah.
You go.
So basically, that's just kind of, you're laying those stitches one right beside the other. So even though the machine is going pretty fast, really not going anywhere. So you don't have to panic over this.
Okay, my red line's coming. So I can no longer, see my red line cannot, my red dot cannot stay there. Now, whether you have the foot with the red dot, so what? You've got usually a line, a split in the foot that shows you the exact center of the foot. So the red line's a real helpful thing. That's a Janome product. Okay.
And that's a clear foot, so that's kind of a plus.
Now look here. Look at, I have to do it again already. Because I made it so that I had a tough curve to go around to make you understand it's okay. 1, 2, one more. I can't do it anymore. But do you see? I want to turn it to the right so my needle's on the right-hand side. Now I'll show you. I got to do it again. There we go. Right on the right side. One more time. Okay, now I'm pretty much going to be able to finish this. That's not my point. My point is, let's see if this can come up good on camera. Can you see that there is not 1 ounce of blue? How did I do it?
You did really good.
1 ounce of blue from my fabric that you can see.
That's nice.
So a lot of times they stitch it and it's got a tiny little bit, like it, you know, and then stip it more. You can do it on your sewing machine. You can do this to be able to do it. So going around curves, that's how you're doing it. So again, it's not, but do you see how the shiny thread kind of even makes it pretty to be able to do?
Now, if you did that with just regular thread, it's just going to kind of dull down and just be really matte finish. So you really do want to use that embroidery thread. It makes it so pretty.
And if you're doing the work, like around my pillow where I'm bringing my drapery fabric down, if you're doing the work, why not make it as nice as possible? It's going to take 5 more minutes. Well, it's probably slows you down a little bit, but not enough not to do it exactly gorgeously. Now, depending upon what machine you have, I use a lot of different threads. On my Janome, I'm able to use a 12 weight and a 30 weight in my needle and sew on it, and that makes it more look like crewel.
Yes, yes, it does.
So that's crewel to some of you folks that aren't as old as I am, is a yarn embroidery. So it looks like it's been hand done.
Are you giving away your age?
Certainly learn.
Stop it.
We got a lot of brand new sewers coming around now, so that makes a big, big, big difference on there. So let's iron this on and just do a square. Because if I teach you how to do that corner, let me tell you, you can do anything at all. Now, how would you do that corner? You would just come down and go again?
Probably.
Yeah, it's going to be the easiest way to do it. So now we want to go around a corner. So we want to do that to make it look really, really nice too. And there's different ways, but this will just help you out a little bit. What are you going to say, Etta?
Not a thing.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm actually going to watch this because I think this machine is pretty fabulous and it can do some pretty cool things. So I'm going to watch.
Huh. Well, sometimes, so I'm going along, I'm still using my line, okay? So my red line is right there, or the center of my foot, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to stop. Now slow it down. This is another nice feature. Let's slow it down. See how much control I have of that needle? One more. 1, 2. Now, how many of you have needle up, needle down? What that needle up, needle down is doing is we used to have to turn our hand wheel, right? To put the needle down, to hold it, to pivot. But what happens is if you didn't put the needle has to go down through the plate and to the bottom of the hook and start to come up before that stitch is knotted. So if you put it down and the needle got down to here, many times it would skip that stitch. So here we go. So just by turning that, now I'm going to turn it into a perfect corner. And I can just hand do one little stitch. Perfect. Okay. So that I've got to help it over that bump because it came down here and did a little bit of a zigzag here. Now I'm pivoting it and coming this way. Following me? Am I saying it right?
Yeah, I think you are.
Okay. So now you may, depends what machine you have, you may help it get over those couple stitches there. My machine went over it like a dream. Okay. So I'm not wasting any more of your time. A satin stitch is going to keep going, but do you see how beautiful that corner is? So all I did was start here, helped it just a little bit, and then just kept right on going. It's using the proper foot is what I need you to do. So it is called an open toe foot if it is like mine that you got an open toe one?
I got an open toe.
Okay, so here's your two. Let's put them on the denim maybe.
Yeah, I think the denim would show more.
Okay, well, no, I don't know, maybe the red.
Maybe the
Here,
red.
the red. Okay. So these are two applique feet. So do you remember on the back, it is completely cut out here. Because if you think about what I just did on that red, I put
You put a lot of stitches there.
an 1/8 of an inch
Yes.
to add to your material, okay? I'll also tell you that if you're sewing tiny rickrack down or if you're doing ribbon down, that's the foot to use because it's going to control it real well for you.
Yep.
We'll do couching another day. Okay, so cutting this one cut out, do you see how this is all open there? That's called an open toe applique foot. This one probably came with your machine,
Yes.
probably plastic, probably never used, and it's designed for all your decorative stitches. So this one is an extra purchase and you can see better, but this one will do the job, okay? So all your decorative stitches, we should do a whole one on decorative stitches.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because there's so many pretty
Put that
ones.
to the list. Okay, so that my decorative stitches can come right here. They actually add bulk to your seam, bulk to your fabric, so that's the foot you want to use. So just by using an open toe foot, going around your design, you don't have to go as wide as I did or anything here. That's just not necessary. Again, I was doing it. It depends what you want. I'd like you to try it because you'll use it a lot more than you think. So maybe find a piece of fabric that's got a flower on it or got a something on it, a dinosaur for your grandson, whatever, and put your iron on. Let's make sure we tell them again. Put your iron on the back, whether, so one side is iron on and one side is like a paper. So the first thing we got to do is get the design on the paper, unless the fabric, the dinosaur over here, I can just cut around the
You can
dinosaur.
just cut around the dinosaur. Some of that cave facet fabric right now has those huge designs.
Flowers.
And they have those beautiful sunflowers.
Yeah.
I was thinking, boy, wouldn't that be pretty on the back of a blue jean jacket, applique around. You know, you can do that thread painting on them. And you want me to continue on?
Thread painting is one of my favorite things to do. So maybe we could do that in the next month or so to do another one for you. So the goal today was just to get you inspired to applique. And I know many of you did it many, many years ago, but the machines are so much easier. The diamond feed dogs down here just take it so much nicer. And if you don't have an embroidery machine, it certainly can get you to dazzle your family with what you can do with it. But again, if you have an embroidery machine and you want to do what I said, get the fabric off of there and get it on here, You know, it's a very easy
Here
way
comes
to
those
do it.
SVG files that you can do. So there's so many more
Makes
things
it
that
so
you can do
simple.
with it. But that soft fuse or heat and bond, that changed applique
Oh yeah,
altogether.
because it's soft.
It's soft, it's easy, it's fused down, it's not shifting around on you.
So this one, see? Give it a try. Get your machine out. Let me inspire you. Let me get you doing something a little bit different. We're doing these seminars for you on a monthly basis. After that, they always go into sewitonline.com. There's probably
Oh, you got oodles.
50 of them over there, 400 different classes over there for you to do. And the only thing I'm going to tell you is if you do have Sew It Online, start listening to them. Even, I don't expect you to sit there and study them, but when you're sewing, have them on a tablet or something, because you're going to hear us talk about something, and then you're going to go back to it.
Well, you know what? I left sewing for a long time, came back to sewing. And you know, you bought your machine 20, 30, 40 years ago, and all of a sudden you come back into the sewing machine world, and it's changed
Thank goodness.
so much, and
Yeah.
it's so much better.
Yeah, it just changes all the time. You wouldn't believe the new threads we got coming in. So all sorts of stuff coming on in. Thanks for joining us today. We hope to see you real soon. Thanks for joining us.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm running this one from home. The video studio's electric is out today, so we don't have any power to bring Etta on and answer any questions today. But I wanted to give you the updated schedule. We are going live again next June 12th over garments. We did have a sew-along planned for tomorrow, which we have canceled because the Bondi top pattern we cannot get from Australia. And we want to make sure we can get everyone's and ship to them before we do that. I know that we are doing that with Deb in her classroom in the store. We're going to do a small one. People got the patterns coming up in June. So we're still going to, we'll get you a date on that. But there wasn't able to get the patterns all the way from Australia in time. So just so you know about that. So mark your calendars. The next one is going to be with Patty Otto and also with Michelle on how to do a cover hem on the serger. Those would be June 12th. Besides that, if you need anything, check out the membership. A lot of this stuff you heard in there was kind of old content that we're bringing out and playing because they're just as good. And there's so much stuff in our memberships. We play them. We're here for you. So the membership has over 400 videos, classes, everything, $197. We have the quilt show specials. If you buy a machine, you get a free 1-year membership. So check that out at Sew It Online. You get the membership and the app and everything. Mimi, does the S5 have the feeder like the S7? No, you need the S6 and S7 to get the AccuFeed. The S5 is one of my mom's favorite machines, but now we kind of focus more on the S6 because that's when you get the AccuFeed. If you need anything, give the store a call, 440-243-6400. They'll have all the answers on all this stuff. Etta's there, my mom's there, and they'll help you. If you need anything with machines, call the Sew It Online number. I'm here for you. Thanks, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you 2 weeks from now with the Patty Otto live stream and Michelle with the serger. Thanks so much.